Hey YouTube, Mike the Rinnai guy here. How we all doing today? I hope we all had a safe and productive week and we're enjoying installing our endless Rinnai tankless heaters. Alright, a little housekeeping first. I'd like to thank everybody that has subscribed to my channel, because as of about a week or so ago I hit 10,000 subscribers. And I did a webinar or a Zoom thing, I don't know what they call it, about a week or so ago with around 150 home inspectors. I was invited by this gentleman. I'm bad with names. I apologize if you're watching the video. I was invited a few months ago to speak at their annual meeting, which was about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half or so ago. And I spoke on what you would need to look at while inspecting not just a Rinnai, any tankless heater, but the benefits of a Rinnai and what to look at when you do come upon in a home that's for sale with the prospective buyer and you're inspecting it, what to look for correct venting, water piping, wiring, control, and I had a whole load of pictures. Thank you very much to my youngest daughter's boyfriend, Steven, for setting this up on my computer, because I'm not very computer savvy when it comes to something like that. But it did very well, and I gained like another 222 subscribers within a week and a half. So I'm over 10,000 now. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I greatly appreciate the support. And I'm going to say this in the beginning. Thank you for all of those comments. All right? They are really, really, really great. Okay. Today's video is actually a little bit off topic of what I was going to do for a video. I have received, probably within the last week and a half, the most questions on one topic that I have ever received. Now, venting and filters and stuff like that, I receive a lot of questions, but that's over a period of months. Within the last week and a half, I received 17, 18 questions on piping of a multiple tankless heater. So 2 or more tanklesses. So this does not have to do with a single tankless. So if you have one tankless, or if you're installing one Rinnai tankless, this has nothing to do with it. Is if you have 2, 3, 4, okay? More than one. All right. It is the proper piping of multiple units. Now, a few of the questions were, I'm putting multiple units in a commercial job or even in their home. What do I need to do? I spoke with a few of yous. I've sent you drawings. Now, a few of you have said, well, I looked on the internet and I saw in a brochure this piping arrangement. What I'm going to show you, it is the only way to pipe in a multiple unit. If not, you're going to have problems. And I'm going to tell you, I'll give you an example of why I know this and what type of problem. Okay? What you have, I did behind me. Now, I'm going to draw on the dry erase board the bad way. What you see here was 2 tankless heaters. Now, mind the distance, mind the pipe. I grabbed old stuff from my shop real quick so I can do this because I thought it was an important video, because I literally received 2 more questions this morning. And I told them to call me later on this afternoon, and then I'll shoot them over some photos. So that's why I decided today to do this video. All right. What you have here, as you can see, is 2 units. Now, it could be 3, 4, 5, and so on. What this is called, the way you pipe it, is called first in, last out. Okay? So, whatever the cold water, cold, hot, whatever the cold water goes into first. So we have like we could say this is backwards, or if you're Japanese, reading from right to left instead of left to right. Tankless number 1. Tankless number 2. Whenever the cold water goes into first, the hot water, or the hot water from that tankless, has to come out last. So as you can see, cold water comes in, first T goes into the tankless. Then it comes down and goes into the second tankless. So first in, last out. So it will be first in cold, first out hot to the system. Why? If you do, and let's go over to the dry erase board a second here. A second here. Let's zoom in. All right. Let's just say we're going to represent red and blue. So you have your hot and you have your cold. Let's just say that you took the line and went like this, which, like 99% of the time when I come into a double tankless heater, oh, I'm doing it in red. I want to leave this in, and I didn't bring my eraser. Okay, you see here, you have your hot and your cold coming in at the center of the unit. Here we go. What's going to happen is water's going to go to one of these tanklesses first. And it's going to make this tankless. Let's just say it's this one right here, the right one. It's going to make that tankless fire more than the other tankless. Even if you have the Easy Connect or the MC cable, if you have 3 of them. Easy Connect cable, which there'll be videos on, is when you're going to Siamese one to the other and they communicate with each other. So whenever you plug the main into the main board, becomes the primary tankless, this becomes the secondary tankless. What's going to happen is it's going to let one tankless fire 4 times, let the other tankless 4 times. It's called lead lag. It doesn't make the tanklesses wear out as fast. One of them wear out as fast. If you have multiple tanklesses, you have an MC cable, and what's going to do is that you're going to set them to have which one's on standby, but that's going to be on a separate video. If you pipe this in like this, it's going to make one of these tanklesses fire first. Now, let me, totally unprepared. So I'm not erasing it with my fingers. Let's say now you have your cold and your hot here. So you're going to do this, this. Again, I'm doing it with the wrong color. Then you're going to do okay? This tankless right here is going to fire pretty much all the time. Even if you come over here and pop that relief valve to draw water out, to check it, this tankless is going to fire. You pop that relief valve, I will guarantee you that tankless will fire. That one won't. Because it's going into this one and coming out of this one first, and that's going to be the primary. This thing eventually will fire, but this tankless will fire. Even if you have the little connect that goes between the two of them, it's going to do it. It's going to do it. It's going to make that tankless want to fire. So, let's get this back here. Let's zoom back. Get it over to the board. Now, if you're doing this from a new installation, all right? Let me erase this a second here because I'm going to show you the trick if you can't get. All right, if you're doing this with a new installation or you have means of moving the pipe, what I do, especially like in a new restaurant or a hotel, you're going to rough just like your faucet, hot's on the left, cold's on the right. So that all you're going to do is go that way, left and right, and you're going to bounce up into the tankless heater. Now, let's say that you don't have that option, let's go back to the dry erase board. All right. Let's fix our tankless heaters. And this time we're going to do one at a time. Now we're going to draw this in a big arc so it's easy to see. You have your cold water. You have your cold water and your hot water, right? What you're going to do is you're going to come with your cold and go into here, come with your cold, go into here. Now, what you're going to do with this is you're going to take your hot and you're going to go like that. Bypass it. There's your first in, last out. So, yes, does it look pretty? No. But if you do it properly, nice fittings, with a level, a lot of hangers, your insulation, it'll look good. But yes, you have all this extra pipe. But see, that will give you, that's like saying the line is over here, the hot's over here. But even though it's over here, but it's coming that way. So first in, last out, then last in cold, first out hot. So make a big loop. Again, if you're going to do it, it's really bad when they're coming out the center. So when they're coming out here, you have to loop both of them. So if they're coming out here, you got to kind of do this. Oh, again, look at this stupid friggin' me with this damn colors today. Let me put that one down. So you're going to have to come like this. Boom. Boom. And then, of course, I did it the opposite way, but you get the idea. And then you're going to come like this. And boom. Boom. Yeah, that will look ugly. But when you're coming out the center, you're going to have to come so when you're coming out the center, you're going to have to make loops like that. Or just go behind the tanklesses, drop down, and now you'll have your hot, your cold like this, and then come back. So that would be, now yes, it's a lot of extra pipe, but I'm going to now explain why it is very important to do this. Excuse me, why I know it is very important to do this. Now, you said, wow, you know, was I taught this? And yes, you if you look up Dan Houlihan, very famous hot water steam guy, he has a supplement on it. There's a few supplements online, you can find it. But I learned the hard way. You say you learn from your mistakes. Every trade, including the fire department, when I was in, you learn from it. We lost, the fireman died because of things we didn't know, and you learn from your mistakes. Well, that's what I did. I did 9 tankless, one of the first jobs we did in a big hotel, 9 tankless heaters. 8 units were primary and 1 was a slave. The slave is where you put your recirc in. There was 2 big commercial water heaters inside of a room. He built me a wall outside. We tapped in off the gas, tapped in off the water, brought the lines outside, 2-inch copper pro press. Came in, mounted all the tanklesses, and ran 2 lines under the tankless and went boom, 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 all the way down the line. Insulated, put the wiring in. I mean, it was gorgeous. I wanted to put it in Plumbing Mechanical magazine. I mean, it was beautiful. Well, it worked for one day. Called me up, complaints through the hotel. Show up there, I start going through it. Well, they seem to be working. What's going on? Go up to the rooms. But I was by myself. I didn't know. I couldn't see if the other tanklesses were firing. Then the second day we got a complaint. I brought someone over with me, 2-way radios. No, the tanklesses aren't firing. We turned the washing machines on. Went on for 5 days, back and forth. Now, so you guys out there, you contractors, that's money. That's a lot of money that you're wasting. Well, after the 5th day, I called up an old friend of mine, this guy Mike Callahan, probably one of the smartest heating hot water engineers on this planet and probably the solar system. And I worked with him. I was even going to go into business with him in New York. This guy was just, and he was a worker too, not just a brain, he was a worker. So I called him up from fear, and he calls me back, and I'm like, Mike, this is what's going on here. And I explained to him, well, he didn't say like, well, did you check the water pressure, check the gas pressure, did you check this, did you check the voltage? His first words out of his mouth was, did you do first in, last out? And I'm telling you, if he was standing in front of me, it would have been the deer in the headlights look. I'm like, what are you talking about, first in, last out? Now, when we did big commercial storage tanks and big commercial water heaters with the boilers in New York, there's a lot of volume in these things. So they should be done first in, last out, but it's not as important with a tankless that doesn't have a lot of water in it, and the electronics and the PC and the computer boards that are in them and the way they operate. So I said, explain to me. So he goes, look, I'm going to email you a drawing, a basic drawing. So he emailed me the drawing. That night I got home, I looked at that thing, my eyes just bugged out of my head. I'm like, oh my God. And that's what it was. It was first in, last out. What was happening was that the cold water was running down and the hot water was running from the right side of the building or the fence line to the left side. And then the first tankless had the 2 pipes, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and then the ninth one really, and that thing always fires because the circulator goes in with this thing called a PVA valve, and I'll go over that, be another video. And it's a slave. Every 3 years you're going to change that out because it runs all the time. Well, I get to the job and I'm like, oh my God. So I kind of envisioned the loop. So left the cold water in, which was here, going down, say, from the right down to the left. So picture this as, 8 tanklesses. And then I had to cut all the hots off, right? Enough. Cut the pipe, put a coupling on it, mount it up, and then do a loop at the end, and then shorten up all. Thank God I had them low enough that I could shorten the risers. So we had to cut it, coupling it, put like a 12-foot piece or something like that in, elbow in a street L, angled it back up, and then put that header back in, and we had to push couplings back up, crimped them, turned it on, not a complaint. And that was the problem. And that's the perfect way that you learn, by others' mistakes. And that's how I learned. And from that day on, whether it's a residential home or a commercial building, it's first in, last out. Now, I want to show you something. You're going to see brochures out there that have tanklesses. They're new systems that have 2. You can buy them already together. You slap them up on the wall. They have pipe, and you just pipe them in. Well, this is Rinnai's rack system. So it's a system that Rinnai America made that incorporates multiple tanklesses on a rack. You can have them 2 and 2. You can have them 3 and 3. I'm in a line. They'll make them however you want to. And they mount a copper manifold, hot and cold, gas. There's plugs. There's everything you need that you can just hoist this thing on a roof, bolt it to the roof, bring your water up, and that's it. Look at what they have here. Here's your hot and cold water copper. Both ends are open. Now, they say, oh, well, you can rack them together. But if you talk to engineering, they're the ones that will also tell you this, Rinnai Engineering, is that once you got that system laid out, you're going to bring your hot and your cold water into the two different ends. That's why they provide you with not cap. Like if you bought this as a three rack system. Now, Rinnai could have capped one side and gave you another side, but they don't know which side you're coming on. But it's also there so that you can put your hot here and your cold there to have your first and last out. So this literature is completely correct. But if you in your area talk to, I guarantee you talk to your local rep, they're not going to know this. Just go by this video. And my email will be below, and I will be more than happy to provide you with a drawing that looks exactly like this. All right? And again, I omit the old videos. I used to have the tanklesses and stuff here, but I felt that it was taking away from you viewers because you're looking also at the tankless. I want you to see what we're pointing. When we have a tankless video, the tanklesses will be here. But these videos, I want you to focus. So that's why I don't have a tankless. But as you can see, 2 valve kits, and I know they're a little different, so that's what I had. But if you follow this, first in, last out, you'll never, ever, ever have a problem. And one of the gentlemen that I spoke to already piped his in. It was a large home. He was a contractor. It was a large home that he did the plumbing and the gas and everything for. And he put 2 tanklesses outside the house. And one of them was only running and it wasn't providing hot water for the entire house. And that's when he got my video and he messaged me and I said, call me. And I said, send me pictures. And I told him, you didn't do what they call first in, last out. And when I sent him the picture, he understood he did it. Messaged me, he said, working perfect. See, you have to do it this way. All right, just follow this. So take a snapshot of this, a screenshot or shot, shoot it, whatever you want to do with it. I gotta learn this in and out. I got this camera for like 10 friggin' years, and I can't figure out which one's zoom. So yeah, I'll give you a quick second. You want to take a quick picture of it. Okay. Oh, hey, I got it right. Look at that. And that's it. And again, a new installation. You're doing a restaurant, you're doing a hotel, you're doing a big home. Put your hot on this side and your cold on this side. Now, I do work for big custom home builders. I don't want to do their plumbing. I do their gas, and I do that. Some of them I don't even want to do their gas. I just give me pipes, and I'll put multiple units outside. And what do? They give me a cold, a hot, and a recirc, which doesn't help me because the recirc's got to be over by the cold. And I tell these guys constantly, I want the cold and the hot over here. The cold and the recirc over here, and I want the hot over here. I want the gas over here, and I want the electric over here. And I mark it on the sheathing. I don't get it. So what do I got to do? So I had a builder say to me, oh, look at all that pipe. I go, well, that's the way I got to do it. You remember when I met you here with the plumber and I went over? Well, the plumber didn't do it. Well, what am I going to do? They're going to complain. I go, well, I'll put it in the right way. You're going to sign a paper saying that the first complaint, you're not calling me. You call back the plumber to do it the correct way. That's the way it's got to be done. If you don't do it this way, it's not going to work. Especially when you have the water that comes out of this side and then goes that way. Or come out of this side and goes that way. This tankless will operate first or this tankless will operate first. Now, one other very important point. This is for you contractors that are going in to, say, a restaurant and they have 2 tankless heaters in there. One of them is another brand. Let's just say XYZ. And you're going to now install, say, a CU199. XYZ, you got to see what the gallons per minute and the BTU rate is. Besides checking for gas, making sure you got enough gas, you got to make sure that that unit isn't so much bigger, because a lot of these older units were designed bigger. And now they realize they didn't need them so big. They just redid the heat exchangers and they can get the proper gallons per minute out of them. So case in point is Rinnai sends me, or the rep sends me and him to look at a senior home that this contractor put in what they call a demand duo. And if you look at my Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see we just did our 30th demand duo. It's a big heater with mounted to a 119 gallon storage tank. It's got a pump. Well, they put this in, but next to it was a first generation style unit from Lochinvar. And this thing had a massive pump on it, had a massive burner, and they didn't do first in, last out. And when it fired, that unit just overran the Rinnai because it was just so much more powerful. So you gotta watch for what the other unit is. Now, it's good if you're going to come in, you're going to take both of them down, but you might have one that failed, and you're a Rinnai guy, and you're going to put a Rinnai in. Well, watch what the other unit is, even if you're doing it in a home. But you're not going to really find that in a home. They're going to be, maybe like a Bosch or a Noritz or a Takagi, something like that, a Nevion. You're going to, it's not going to be much bigger, so you're not going to have to worry about that. It's in a commercial, like a hotel or a big restaurant. You got to look at what the other unit is. Okay? Alrighty. So, just to recap. Whatever the cold water goes into first, the hot water has to come out last. And that's what you remember. Or just remember, hot's on the left, cold's on the right. You're going to go that way and that way, picking up those. And remember, it's going to be, now, let's just say you had 3. Well, there's going to be a T here and an elbow here, a T here and an elbow there. 4 T's at the end. Now, one other little thing here, and I didn't have it. When I do multiple units, whether it is let me just back up 1 second. If you have a recirc system where you're going to recirc, bring it in to here, the last unit. If it's 3 over here, 4 over there, 5 over there, bring it into the last unit. An expansion tank off of here before the first unit. That's where your expansion tank goes, right here. So it's going to expand the whole line. All right? Expansion tank here, recirc on the end. All right? Now, now I lost my train of thought. What the hell was I going to say? Yeah, that was it. Sorry, that was it. As far as the recirc and stuff. Now, I will be getting into, probably in the next 2 or so weeks, what they call the communications cables between the units. So it's called an Easy Connect, an MC cable, and then for the commercial units, for like the CU199 or the Demand Duo, which is a CU199 but mounted to the tank, there's a thing called a cascade cable. And what that does is it communicates between the units. So if it's 2 units like this, it would be an Easy Connect. If it's multiple units, there's a box. You can do 5 units. You plug them in. Now for the CU it's more, but we'll get into that. And then you plug them in, and then you hit these switches, and you basically follow it's very simple. You follow directions, and it's what's on standby, what's not on standby for the units to operate. Okay. For those of you that know about it or don't know about it, I sell for a Mr. Richard Wood. Oh God, I totally forgot. The gentleman that invented this, his wife suddenly passed away on New Year's Day. In her sleep. So my heart and my family's heart goes out to Richard Wood. God, I cannot remember his wife's name. But she passed away. So a prayer, for him and his family would be greatly appreciated. I just found out by giving him a call. So very, 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 very sad news. But I am selling these through the channel They're the filter removal tools. My email will be below. Just email me your address, your name and address. Please, name and address with the zip code. And then if you're in the continental United States, it's $30. That's with the shipping. We'll Venmo, or you can mail me a check, and I'll send it out. And for those of you that have received it, I think about, I forget how many have gone out so far. I hope you're enjoying them, and I hope you'll receive them. And if you're not, just message me, and I'll make sure you get another one. Okay? All right, YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. Hit that little bell so you're notified. And hit that like. It helps with the channel. Alrighty? You all be safe out there, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.